A completely different way to think about power strips. Let's have a look. Dave Taylor here, and I'm looking at this. This is the, the EYGDE, the EYGDE, EYGDE. How would you pronounce that? Leave a comment. Tell me your suggestion for pronunciation. Whatever it is, it's a power tower. Let's open it up and see what it is. It's actually a really cool idea. So this is one of these companies where they really focus on power strips and such. So let's get rid of the box. Let's get rid of the plastic. And you can see it is basically a power strip with a vertical orientation. That's a really smart idea. And the power outlets are really widely spaced, which is nice because we're going to give it its worst nightmare with a whole bunch of stuff we're going to plug in, see what happens. Now, has a 10-foot cord, which is also really handy. A lot of these come with like this, 1 foot or 18-inch cords, and it's like, what is the point of that? The whole point of this is to make things more convenient. So you can totally imagine having this in the middle of a conference table, for example, and everyone gets to power whatever they want. Now, what are the power options? It has 8 AC outlets with a total combined wattage of 2,500 watts max. You don't want to exceed that. It does have a built-in 150 joule surge protector and overload protection. If you really just pull down a ton of wattage, it'll turn itself off. And then there's a convenient reset button on the bottom. That gets you back up and running, but you don't want to plug in like a microwave oven and a hairdryer at the same time, or either of them really. They both take huge surges of power. So we're going to plug this stuff into this, and we're going to try it out. So it has 8 grounded AC plugs. And then the real fun part is that it also has 4 USB plugs on one edge too. And those are actually 5 volt, 3.1 amp per, and you can get a total of 15 watts combined across them. They say they're fast charge. Who knows? We'll see. Now, it basically, that's it, right? It's power strip. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to plug it in. So I'm going to plug it in. This blue cord here happens to be hot. So now this should be powered. Let's see. There are 2 on-off buttons on the top. So we'll push the first one. And it's a nice solid on-off. And that gives us the green indicator light. And that means presumably this side is now hot. So it also includes these USB. Then if I push the other one, that presumably gets the back bunch going. Now, we're gonna have to figure out what's what, but let's start with the USB, right? So I happen to have my iPhone, so I'm gonna plug that in, and you can see it's charging, as you would hope. And what else do I have to charge? Let's see, we have a little tiny speaker. So this will also plug in, and I'm just picking plugs at random, and let's see, there's an indicator light on this, so this is also charging. So now the question is, what happens if I turn off the button on the top? And now it is not charging. And if I turn it on, now it's charging again. So that's behaving exactly as you would expect. Now, I have like the worst case scenario for power strips because I have all these little battery chargers and they all tend to be very greedy in space, right? And I have this wall adapter, and if we were using a power strip, any one of these could really mess up my ability to plug in lots of stuff. But the way this is designed, turns out this works great. Now, there's a little overlap thing, but I think if we are thoughtful in how we plug all this in, let's see. Oh, this one isn't a wall adapter, so that's not useful. We won't use that one. So you can see here that we now have these 3 adapters all plugged in, and we still have the 2 USB, and everything's working great. So that's really nice. Now, this can work with anywhere from 110 to 250 volts of input power. So it's really flexible in terms of like traveling overseas or something. You're still going to be using that US 3-pronged outlet, but if you have some way to adapt, or if they actually give you a compatible wall outlet with 220 or 250 or something, even at 50 hertz, you're good. And let's see, size-wise, this is 6.7 inches tall, and then a side is 4.3 inches. The total thing's 1.5 pounds. In fact, I have a couple of criticisms, one of which is it's actually a little too light. I wish it was a little heavier, but we'll come back to that in a second. It's made out of fireproof ABS plastic. You don't want to think about a fire when you're looking at a power strip, but it happens. So the fact that this has surge protection and overload protection, and it's made out of fireproof material means that you're safe. This is not going to be a fire hazard, as many really inexpensive power strips can be. Got to be careful. In fact, this is UL, ROHS, CE, and FCC certified. So they went through and got all the necessary certifications for this to be a solid addition to your office, to your garage or workstation. You know, this is something you could easily throw into your suitcase if you get to a hotel like I do and you're like, I need 4 outlets, there's 1. You know, so now you have a solution that's easy. This is a really nice thing. Honestly, a hotel could just put this on the desk and then you would have more power plugs than you'd know what to do with, which is kind of a nice problem because usually you have the opposite thing. So let me just take these off and give you just a little more of a sort of straight on view of what's going on here. So my 2 criticisms of this. Number 1 is it's a bit light. I wish that it was maybe a little heavier to make it a little more solid. Now it does have non-stick or non-skid feet, which is great, but you know, if I have 2 things plugged in on one side, the whole thing can easily tilt over. I guess you can balance it by doing that, but I just wish it was stronger. Maybe even had a couple of drill holes or some way that you could actually mount it to a surface. Wouldn't that be cool, right? Maybe that's a different product, but this one is remarkably light for what it's doing. The second comment I have is the little green power indicator. There's no way to disable that. That is gonna be on if you're gonna have this hot. And that's really frustrating too if you wanna have this on your desk and you're sleeping a few feet away, because you can ostensibly turn it off, but now you just turned off your monitor, your computer, your fan, your sleep sound machine. Who knows what the heck you had plugged into this? So not a great solution. My guess is people that have an issue with that will just put a piece of tape over it or a piece of paper or something. Problem solved, right? But those are my only negatives, and they're pretty darn minor. On the positive side, this is a really great design. I really like the convenience and the flexibility and just the huge spacing between outlets, so I can use these sort of devices and it doesn't hog the entire power plug. So you can really plug in lots and lots of stuff and maximally utilize your power. That's a real win. So lots to like about this. Honestly, the biggest puzzle is how do you pronounce the name? But there's also the price, of course, and the price is not entirely unreasonable. But before we get there, let me ask if you can subscribe to my channel. It's just that little red button on the corner there. And if you can tap or click on it, then we're connected, and that's a good thing. So, great. This is the EYGDE Power Tower. And it is $25.99 at Amazon.com. And it's a pretty nice solution for the problem of plugging in lots of stuff in a really flexible way. So really lots to like about it. I don't know how to pronounce it. Leave a comment, give me a suggestion. In terms of the price, $25.99 is spendy if you're just thinking of a regular old power strip with minimal surge protection. But if you're thinking of this as a flexible solution to all of your power needs, then that's an entirely reasonable investment. So that's all I got. I'm going to plug things back in because, yeah, stuff does need to be charged. There we go. And that means I'll catch you in my next video.